I'm here to assist you with all your test equipment needs, from multimeters and test weights to patient simulators and x-ray analyzers. If you need guidance or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write me at jbarber@BCGroupIntl.com.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Better Biomed. Man, I'll tell you what, I have been dealing with power outages and stuff random in my house for probably the last couple weeks, ever since I got a resistive heater. Now, oddly enough, my very powerful computer does suck a lot of watts, and it did not show any of these weaknesses in my electrical. So it's kind of crazy. I put a resistive heater on there and it has a constant resistive load, and it's probably about 1,000 watts, maybe 1,200 watts. And in doing so, it created enough of a strain on the circuit that the next weakest link showed itself. And the next weakest link is supposed to be the circuit breaker. It's the way it's meant to be. However, what I've realized is that there is an electrical issue that many homes have been suffering from for the last 10 to 15 years, maybe even 20 years. And the more usage that these electrical outlets get, the more this feature that electrical outlets used to have is going to be more of a problem. And what I'm talking about is I'm talking about the press to insert on the back of electrical outlets. And now, what does that mean? Well, traditional screw down terminals like this, you see them right here, black the brass or it's your ass. So your hot line goes there. Over here is your neutral. And down here is going to be your ground on the green stud, which is basically like a chassis. So that's your three terminals. But it used to be that there was push-in terminals where you could strip a wire back and insert your solid core wire into the back, and there is a little, almost like a reed that would catch the wire and retain it. And the thing is, it made installing these a breeze, and you could put many of them in, which is probably why many construction companies used it. However, what you would have over time is if there's any wiggle in the outlet, which they all wiggle. I don't care how good your outlet is. When you plug and unplug things, especially three-pronged items, you're going to wiggle the outlet a little bit. So what happens over time is you get burned wires, like this guy right here. See that? This guy right here is an arcy spark. So what was going on in my house is I had a couple GFCIs. These are ground fault circuit interrupters. And I had them piggy-tailed onto each other, which means one is going over to the next and then going to the next. And then it goes on to a non-GFCI circuit. Well, it's wild because I have like 12 to 14 outlets on the same circuit. It's crazy. And it'd be different if they're all in the same room, right? Actually, that'd make it worse. I have some outlets. I have one outlet in a bathroom across the building that is connected to the other bathroom. Weird. Why isn't that one GFCI? I don't know. Well, maybe I'll put one in there. However, I've got a couple out in my hallway, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 outlets in the bedroom that are all on the same circuit. I mean, so I've got random outlets all over the place that are on this circuit. So what's going to happen is eventually you're going to have a load issue. You're going to put too much on there. And if you utilized all these screw down terminals, like here, well, that's kind of cool. The yellow is not showing up. It's got a yellow tape on it. So when you utilize the screw down terminals like this, you are much less likely to have an issue because you're creating a mechanical solid connection versus just a bent piece of steel that catches the wire as it goes in and it prevents you from pulling it out. But That means that you're only getting the surface connection of whatever's on the other side of the wire and that little piece that's pushing against it to hold it in. All right. And it's a horrible design. And they've had that feature on the back of outlets for decades. And the thing is if you have those in your house, if you have some of those outlets, don't use that feature. It'll be a series of holes on the back, and you just push the wire straight in, and it holds it. And magically, it's installed. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to have electrical problems, especially in times like right now when you have heating and cooling because it's hot out or it's cold out. There's expansion, contraction of all metal things, including the copper wires, and that expansion, contraction leads to gaps. And when you get gaps, you get burnt wire. Look at that. I don't know if it's going to pick up. But anyway, this wire right here is absolutely toast. And it created an intermittent problem. Like it would work just fine. And then I put a resistive load on it, and then it would create a problem again, randomly. So, and that's just because that wire is not being retained that well. And what they do is they have incoming power coming into the receptacle and then outgoing power coming out. That means you're linking them all on the same circuit. So if any one of them creates a failure, then all of them are affected, which it really sucks. So guys, if you have outlets like this, you can see I've got a 20 amp, got a 15 amp. You know the difference because it's got that little line off the side. And I've got a GFCI. None of these have the push-in terminals. They all have reverted to mechanical screw downs. And you can see most of them have notches like this, so you can put your wires next to one another when you screw them down with a mechanical function. The press-in function, don't use it. Horrible idea. I guess conceptually it might have worked, but the problem is it was just designed for quick installs, not for longevity. How many of you guys change out your outlets in your house? Not too many, right? Longevity should always be the goal, and maximum current handling, because a screw down connection can handle much more current load transfer between two wires than a push-in connection. And since all mine are cherry linked together, now I have weak links, every single one of them. So that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going through all my electrical outlets and changing them back over to a mechanical linkage instead of a push-in connector. Horrible idea. That's a lot of work. Anyway, guys, hope you learned something today. Don't use the push-in connectors on the back of your electrical outlets. If you have to, always revert to using the screw-down terminals. Thanks for watching, guys.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with what you'd like to see in future videos.